TV series that everybody's been speaking about, of course. It's a brand new series of The Crown. We've spoken about it often here on the show. It's the fictitious series all about the British monarchy. And when you think about it, I don't know if you ever saw the E version, The Royals, which starred the litigation queen Elizabeth Hurley. That at least was fun, you know, it was poking fun exactly at the Royals, the way that the Royals operated, etc. This, allegedly, even though it started off incredibly well, with the likes of Matt Smith portraying the late Duke of Edinburgh, well, you know, it kind of all went downhill because now the most ludicrous storylines are coming to fruition. And as you can imagine, it's very difficult because the people that are still alive are being portrayed in that particular series. But more importantly, they're unhappy with it because, of course, they know it's not true. If you think about it, you know, we have a wonderful late Prime Minister, of course. If you think about it, of course, we have a former British Prime Minister, the Right Honourable John Major, right? Now, he's being portrayed in this series by the actor Jonny Lee Miller, the former paramour of the actress Angelina Jolie. Now, one would assume, of course, that somebody of his standing would have thought, yes, you know, the script's a little bit ludicrous, but nonetheless, you know what you're playing. Now, the former British Prime Minister has come out and said, look, it's nonsense on stilts. Then, of course, you have another problem because they don't want to offend His Majesty the King, King Charles III. They all have very good relationships with him, particularly John Major during his time as Premier. But then step forward, we have Richard Dimbleby, a former biographer of the then His Royal Highness Prince Charles, and the man that gave that very infamous interview on commercial TV with Prince Charles. What's interesting here is he said it's just utter nonsense because even though all of these people have been approached to offer their side of the story, the people behind it, the writer Peter Morgan, have simply gone ahead and thought we just need to be sensationalism. But what's the true story behind it? Well, it's quite simple really. You know, they're desperate now for subscribers. You know, Netflix have lost lots and lots and lots of subscribers. They've paid out to people that haven't delivered programs. You get the picture. So it's interesting, isn't it? So they have to make the things more sensationalized. But there is truly one person that's really upset, obviously, about this particular debacle. Or possibly two, if you look at His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales. We're talking, of course, His Majesty the King, because while all of his close associates and former biographers, former prime ministers, etc., have come out and condemned the programme, the one person that could really put a tin hat on it all, as they say, would be none other than his youngest son, Prince Harry. So far, Prince Harry said nothing. In fact, we don't know too much about what he thinks about the crown. If you remember, when he was doing the interview with Oprah Winfrey, basically, he did say, well, sort of elements of it are true or based on some truths. So clearly they'd seen it and they smirked and let the people know that indeed they watched it or seen elements of it. But according to a very good source, His Majesty the King really believes that his youngest son simply coming out and condemning it and saying it's nonsense, particularly when it's not just attacking his father, Prince Charles, but his late mother, Princess Diana, his brother, of course the late monarch too. Nobody comes out of this particularly well. What really baffles His Majesty the King is that the main writer, creator, Peter Morgan, was more than happy to receive an award from the then Prince of Wales at Buckingham Palace, a CBE no less. Seemingly though, once the award's in the bag, they feel it's, well, kind of an open door for them to come up with exactly what they wish. Will this work out though for the Netflix streaming giant? Will they now get more subscribers? Seemingly not. The backlash is growing, and more importantly, a cost of living crisis means people are cutting down. So the more sensationalized you make it, simply the more people are going to turn off. But the biggest heartache really is for none other than His Majesty the King. It must be incredibly hurtful that his youngest son could do so much to finish this, rather than of course sit back and see the family that have supported, loved, cared and shared with him do nothing. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.